This is Secret America with your hosts, Jack Danger and James Clary.
Welcome, everybody. I'm Jack Danger, along with James Clary. And James, I saw something that was so funny. I wanted to get your reaction to this live because I didn't want to tell you off the air.
Okay.
Now, this is something that someone sent to me, and I thought it was actually a good idea. I don't think anybody would actually do it, but someone wrote down that Trump, and this would actually, I think it would explode the minds of all the all the liberals out there, okay? They said Trump should identify as a female. Okay, get this. They said liberals would either have to accept him as the first female president or admit the absurdity of their gender ideology. And I just thought that was a brilliant idea, James. I mean,
it is brilliant. You know,
so smart.
Reminds me of, who was that? Debbie Sutherland, that reporter that identified as male. She these liberals were all over in a street argument, and she's like, "Well, identify as male." Oh. You do? Really?
Then you can beat her ass, right?
That'd be so freaking funny, man.
That is funny, actually. But something that's crazy that's been happening, James, and I'm sure you've seen it, is how both Letisha James and Adam Schiff, we both know about the mortgage fraud thing, right? About how they've both been caught up in this whole mortgage scheme thing. Well, apparently the DOJ has actually opened a grand jury investigation into these two. And then also one about Letisha James over her Trump civil case. And then Adam Schiff over the Russia collusion and the mortgage thing. But James, I actually saw there was a video that came out that explained what they were doing. And apparently they were buying these houses for $200,000, right? Mm-hmm. And now getting a loan for the house for like $200 million. You know, and
really?
Go ahead.
No, I said really.
Yeah, it's insane. I'm not quite sure how they went about it. I actually want to try to put up this video real quick because I think it is something that you would find very interesting. And it's just crazy how they go about that thing because they've been able to rake in millions of dollars, and it all has to do with like Act Blue and things like that. It all ties in together. And I think it's this video right here, actually. Yeah, see right here, it says, Democrats are pretending to buy $200,000 houses and creating $200 million mortgages, laundering that money through wire transfers. So I'm just gonna play this quick video real quick.
Yeah.
And I want you to see it. I want you guys to listen to this. I'm just gonna play.
Generally, it goes into escrow.
Tell me, magic mortgages. What in the world is this, Senator?
So we have this architecture that when you buy a house, generally it goes into escrow. You have a title company that handles the escrow, and there are a number of documents that go into it. So just at a broad scale, let's imagine you buy a house. Grant Stinchfield buys a house for $200,000, and it's funded by one of the North American banks. We'll just say Wells Fargo. Please don't sue me. All the records, including the mortgage, the deed of trust, the Alta insurance policy, all of those records are recorded in the county record. Then just a few minutes later, your $200,000 house suddenly has a $200 million magic mortgage that comes through. It's nothing but a wire that goes through the title company. There's no lender involved because it's a hard money loan, what they call a cash hard money loan. But because it goes through a title company, there's no notation of who the lender is. And it goes on.
So apparently what's happening here, James, is that these people are buying these houses, low income houses, $200,000 houses, and then they're getting loans on them from companies, from banks that are basically helping them launder their money. And it looks like they're getting a mortgage, but it's really a $200 million mortgage. But the way they go about it through the paperwork, they don't have to explain where it came from or who gave it to them. And that's how a lot of these Democrats are getting rich. And that has a lot to do with Adam Schiff and what's going on with Letisha James right now.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, there is so much fraud and corruption. And, speaking of Letisha James and Fannie Willis, that whole group that they tried to go after Trump. I don't know. Have you been following the Bill Barr saga?
Oh, yes. That is unbelievable. He's more of a traitor than I even thought.
So, yeah, let me go over this. So
Yeah.
apparently there's a woman named Patricia Lelise, and she was a journalist. She's from Brazil, I believe. She's a former journalist at Howard Stirk Holdings. And she was involved with a guy named Armstrong Williams, who I had to look up. He's a black conservative, supposedly conservative commentator. He identifies as Republican. Bill Barr and legal counsel Clyde Vanell. So the allegations, Lelise claims that she was tasked with drafting business plans for fake companies to help wealthy foreigners obtain E2 investor visas. Like, I guess if you've got enough money, you can get a visa. And she said that Williams and Barr were totally complicit in it, and that she is being made into a fall person. She reported this to the FBI, and then the DOJ turned around and prosecuted her. So Williams directed her to accept $700,000 for crafting these fake visas. And she has text and emails that show that Barr knew of the scheme and facilitated fast tracking. But the craziest part, Bill Barr, Lelise attended dozens of meetings between 2021 and 2023 with Barr, Williams, and other people like CNN's Shermichael Singleton, where legal strategies were discussed to block Trump's comeback. In one of the meetings, they did a target list, including Bannon, Giuliani, Rhodes, and Tario, which, is the Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers.
Yeah.
And all those people ended up going to jail. She said that this started in these meetings with Bill Barr. You got to remember, Trump lost the election, supposedly. We know he actually won in 2020, right? But Barr was on the outs. Remember, we know what happened right after the election, and he said there was no indication that there was any wrongdoing. He and Pence were in on it. So then, getting back to Letisha James and the Fannie Willis, March 15th, 2022, there was a meeting, discussions between Barr, Williams, Fannie Smith, and Jack Smith, the special prosecutor, about prosecutions in multiple jurisdictions. This is where they planned it. We're going to hit him from all sides. We're going to get him in Georgia. We're going to get him in New York. And they included predicting the FBI raid on Mar-a-Lago, which happened a month later. Barr was quoted as saying, "We need to get him on RICO because it's a very difficult type of charge to defend." So we've known Bill Barr was scum, but when you look into his history, Jack, and I'll just say this and I'll let you respond. His father, Donald Barr, was OSS, which is the precursor to the CIA. He wrote a book about pedophilia. He's the one that hired Jeffrey Epstein with no degree, right, to the Dalton School, Bill Barr's son. And then Barr, people forget this. Barr was in the CIA for 8 to 9 years. He was known as the mop-up man. He cleaned up like the Iran-Contra scandal. He was the one that made sure that the CIA, all of their wrongdoings, that they weren't implicated. He's a scum, and I really hope they get him. But this is, and by the way, this was Project Veritas without James O'Keefe that did this reporting. So good on them, man. What do you think?
No, absolutely. And Bill Barr, like I said earlier, is more of a traitor than I even could imagine. He was already, he was someone that was not really picked by Trump, but someone that Trump put on there because he listened to the wrong people. It was his first, term as president. He really didn't know what to do. So he was just kind of listening to people, and he listened to the wrong people. But now it's not even just what's going on with Bill Barr and them. Now I got to say, Ed Martin, he is one of the most honest people that you will find. And I love the fact that he has actually been appointed as the special prosecutor to investigate Letisha James and Adam Schiff. Pam Bondi just appointed him, so that's going to be pretty amazing. He's going to be somebody that doesn't take it easy on them. He's actually going to go after them. But then you see all the other corrupt things that are going on. You know, the House and Senate have convened briefly almost every day in empty chambers just to block Donald Trump from making recess appointments. They come there, a few of them, just with empty chambers. That way they can't say it's a recess, so he can't make recess appointments. All of a sudden, Robert Mueller, this whole Russia collusion hoax is out there, yet Robert Mueller is now residing in a memory care facility. Yeah. He can't remember shit all of a sudden. So these are the most corrupt people. You got the Texas Democrats leaving Texas so the Republicans can't do the same gerrymandering that the Democrats have done in Illinois for years. Illinois has the most ridiculous districts you've ever seen. Yeah. Have you seen the way they're mapped? It's unbelievable. But yet the Democrats won't allow it in Texas. Rather, they will leave the state. And I love the fact that they put out warrants for these people. And I also love the fact that Ken Paxton, who is running for Senate and will win, by the way, I love the fact that Ken Paxton actually went out there and said he is going to go to the Supreme Court, which he did, the Texas Supreme Court, to declare those 13 Democrat House seats vacant. He said those rogue Democrat legislators who fled the state have abandoned their duties. And I think that all of the Democrats, everyone that I've named here, even Robert Mueller, all these people are cowardly, corrupt people. And it's just, there's just no justice, man. We can't do anything about it. What can we do, James?
Well, apparently, look, I heard an interview a couple of weeks ago with someone who, it may have been Mike Davis, where he's saying, so what is the next step in this Russia collusion? And the interviewer was basically saying what you and I said, nothing's going to get done. And he said, well, you'll know that they're actually taking these recommendations seriously, because Tulsi Gabbard referred, not recommendations, referrals. She referred to the DOJ for criminal prosecution. He said what they do generally after referral is that they form what's called a strike team. And if they form a strike team, they're serious about it and they're going after them. Well, guess what? They formed a strike team to go after
people have
Clapper.
Been referred to the DOJ lately, though? I'm talking hundreds have been referred. There has not been a single thing done to any of these people.
Well, just remember, though, if they're referred to the DOJ, now they start the criminal investigation. That does take some time. I know it's frustrating.
Evidence, they've already got, a lot of these people already have evidence, open and shut cases, man. I could try these cases.
Yeah, well, I agree with you. And like we've said 100 times, there's still information that they could release to us that don't involve a long investigation. Like one of the questions I've always posed, many others have, how many federal either agents or informants or assets were at the Capitol on January 6th? It's a simple question. You say we had 230 assets or agents there, and they won't answer that. It'd be very simple to say, this is the person, we're not going to prosecute him, but this is the person that leaked the Roe decision for SCOTUS. This is who had the cocaine in the White House. Now, if they're making a criminal case, okay, I get that. But still, like the cocaine, let's just take that. Apparently, according to Dan Bongino, a year ago on his podcast, he said, I have a very high-level source who told me they recovered DNA off the package of cocaine. In other words, they know whose coke it is. Okay, so what else is there to do with that case? If they're going to prosecute it, name the person, do an indictment, panel a grand jury if you need to, but arrest the son of a bitch. We haven't seen anything. And you're right, Jack. It is getting very frustrating. And I'm going to say it every week. Still no movement on Epstein. None.
No, there's not. And these people, how come nothing is ever leaked that hurts the Democrats? How come the cocaine name has not been leaked? None of these things have been leaked. But if it was Trump, if Trump's fingerprints were on that cocaine, you better believe it would have been leaked, years ago. It's just crazy the way things happen.
Well, and that SCOTUS deal, Roberts is protecting that person. A Republican appointed Chief Justice is protecting the person that leaked a SCOTUS decision. It's mind-numbing.
It really is. But I want to give some people some good news. It's actually funny. Okay, it's funny, but it's also cool. Now, did you see how, James, how stores in California, you know how shoplifting is a huge problem in California with the looting and this and that.
Everywhere, yeah.
Yeah, well, especially in California because they raised the felony to $950.
Right.
Okay, it has to be $950 or more. Otherwise, they're not even going to come out and try to hurt these.
You get a ticket at work.
They're not even going to bother coming if you call, really. Let's be real.
Right.
So what these stores are doing now, James, and I love this, okay? They are pricing everything at $951. Everything is priced at $951, and if you steal it, it's a felony. But when you get to the register and pay for it, you get a discount. It goes back to the regular price.
I love
you know what I'm saying? I love it. It's genius.
It's
how
just
you get around terrible prosecutors.
As a person that's had many, many businesses over the years, it's so sad that businesses have to put up with that crap, though. It's outrageous. And you know, what's really sad is to see, you know, Walmart's, Walgreens, Kroger's, Whole Foods moving out of these urban communities because the very people living in those communities, a small minority of them, are thieves.
And I mean, blame them.
Yeah,
I'd be out of there in a heartbeat. There ain't
I
no
know,
way
and the rest of the community suffers. I mean, I think there was remember that story that came out a while ago about New York shoplifters? It said that 90% of the shoplifters are done by 5% by this very small number of people.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it just hurts everybody, man.
Have you seen, James, the way that stores in California now are locking up bags of Doritos? They are putting them in plastic things where you have to have a key to open it and get the Doritos out of the plastic, you know, container.
Bro,
they are locking up.
Yeah, I was in Reno
4
years ago, Reno, Nevada. I was there on a business trip, and I went to the Walgreens, and I was trying to eat low carb. They had the freaking beef jerky locked up. And of course, there's only one clerk. It was like late at night. You know, I'd had a meeting. It was like 11 o'clock. One clerk with 4 people at the register, and he had to leave to come unlock to get my beef jerky. It was like, what?
There are stores now, I saw, James, where they will not let you inside until you show that you don't have any bags, you don't have any hoodies, you don't have any weapons.
Yeah.
They have a door that locks, and you cannot get inside unless you put your hands up and twirl around and that. But I mean, in these areas, it's necessary. It is 100% necessary. Honestly, I wouldn't go that far. My store's the hell out of there. Okay, yeah. I'm not going to where I have to lock up the freaking Doritos.
No, well, you remember Rudy Giuliani turned New York around.
One person can do it.
Yes, simple philosophy is that you have to charge and prosecute the small crimes. It's called the broken window philosophy or something like that. Is if you let somebody get by with breaking a window, they get by with that, then, you know, it's if you take an inch, they'll push you for a mile kind of thing, you know? So once again, it's about law and order. And these blue states, I don't know, do they think they're helping the community? You know, because look, half of the criminals are black and poor. I mean, that's just true across. So, and then the rest of them are other white, Asian, or Hispanic, poor, whatever. Usually Asians don't steal very much. But, you know, are you helping any of those communities by allowing people to get out on bail or to just get a ticket? No, you're hurting everyone. They're just moronic that they don't see that.
Oh, without a doubt. Now,
I want to say, hey, before we go on, say hi to everybody in the chat. It's great to see Liz, Green Eyed Bot, Deborah. We appreciate you guys.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And I want to say there's something do you know who Alex Stein is? He's like a conservative comedian.
Yeah.
Okay. He put out a video where it was a live broadcast of MSNBC. Okay. He goes up behind the live broadcast. But then right after that, he goes on an actual Senate floor and speaks. And I want you guys to hear what he says. I want you to hear it, James. It's one of the funniest things you will ever see. I want everybody to hear this. Check it out.
Women's sports. I disagree.
And have you been able to keep tabs on what's happening there? Can you bring us an update? We just watched the speaker gavel out with a whole lot of anger, Kelly. Here's the state of play. Here's
MSNBC sucks.
Hey, how are you?
MSNBC sucks. MSNBC sucks.
Okay. Sometimes this happens, and we understand that can happen. And while we love free speech, we're going to keep control here. So, Ryan.
Welcome. Introduce yourself. Go ahead.
My name's Alex Stein. I'm considered one of the sexiest men in conservative politics. And one thing I want to say, a lot of people are going to hear my testimony and you're going to say you're anti-LGBTQ. I want to say that's impossible because I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan. So obviously I have a lot of gay pride. But, you know, a lot of conservatives like yourself, you want to outlaw transgenders in women's sports. I disagree. I like transgenders in women's sports because you can gamble on them and win money. You know, I won so much money on Leah Thomas's propeller in that pool. I almost turned draft kings, into draft queens. And, you know, I actually like transgenders in the military, too, because, first of all, transgenders are some of the meanest people on planet Earth. So they make a good soldier, don't you think? And then, you know, second of all, transgenders love to do mass shootings. So, you know, that's perfect for a military veteran. And then on top of that, the suicide rate is incredibly high among transgender people. So we could just use them like the Taliban has suicide bombers. Maybe you guys can actually, you know, if you commit suicide, actually help us in the battlefield. So that would be good. So I think we need transgenders in the military and women's sports. Now, when we come to the bathroom bill, though, this is an asymmetrical problem because, first of all, no dude cares if, like, a bisexual woman comes in there and tries to use, like, a pee funnel. You know, some lady boy comes in there, some, you know, stud comes in there, wants to pee in the urinal. No guy's going to be threatened by, you know, a trans woman. But we don't want these gargoyles in a dress, you know, some chick with a dick coming in there and trying to pee or poop next to my girlfriend because that's disgusting. And, well, I was going to say something. Listen, I have my First Amendment right. Let me just speak. So we're sick of these transgenders trying to invade women's personal spaces. These people have autogynephilia. They're sexual perverts, and they actually get satisfaction from going there and looking under a stall.
Who?
He's absolutely right. I mean, he's 100% right on all of that.
He's big balls, man. He is
hilarious.
totally...
But he's true. He's right. He's true, and he's telling it in a funny way where people will remember. You remember shit that's funny, you know?
Oh yeah, and dude, he's crashed meetings for years.
And that was an actual Senate committee meeting on foreign affairs. That was an actual Senate committee meeting. He was actually there testifying, and he actually said this shit. This was not fake. This was not a stunt.
Oh man, these gargoyles, chick with a dick.
I love that he says that. And then the MSNBC sucks. I mean, how funny was that? I mean, that's real, you know, that's real. And they're used to it because they even said this happens from time to time.
And, you know, they got rid of him and he came back and did it again.
Really? No, I did not know that.
Yeah.
I did not know. That is funny. That is good.
Too much, brother.
So, oh my God. And it's just funny to listen to. I'm sorry. I know it's.
On the more serious side, you know, we talk a lot on the show about justice or lack of, and we really are trying to hold these people accountable. These people, I mean, primarily Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, and Dan Bongino. But there's crazy stuff going on in the FBI. Jack, did you know that a guy named Christopher Myers was the case agent who ran the Mar-a-Lago investigation on behalf of Jack Smith that resulted in the raid that everybody saw going to Trump's house and, you know, going through Melania's underwear? Did you know he's serving as the pilot for Kash Patel's private jet?
No,
have you heard
I didn't even know the FBI director had a private jet.
Yeah, well, remember when Chris Wray was doing testimony, he said, I'm sorry, I got to get out of here. And one of the senators was probably Rand Paul, said, will you flying commercial today? And kind of, no, they have a jet for the director has a jet that he can. So, sure. There's all these other people. There's a guy named, the guy named assistant director, the field office. Jensen, what was his name? Steven Jensen. People call him J6 Jensen because he was a major proponent in all of those people getting charged in J6. I mean, he's the guy that put grandmothers in jail. And so they promote him, Kash Patel. I mean, what the F is going on, Jack?
I have no idea. I do like in the comments though, everybody was laughing, at the video because that was hilarious. But as far as the FBI thing, I mean, it's hard to tell because 1 minute people are telling you this, you gotta wait, it takes time, yada yada. But then you get other stuff where it looks like they're not actually doing what they say they're going to do. It's one thing if it takes time, but it's another thing if it looks like they're not even trying. So there's two stories, and then you've got strange things happening. Like, you remember that guy that we were talking about that was promoted, and he was one of the people that was in on January 6th, yet he was promoted to like the New York Southern District or Washington, D.C. FBI chief or something. I forget what it was, but he was promoted to a very prestigious position after having been part of January 6th. He was promoted by...
Yeah, that's Jensen. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I'm talking about. It's hard to know what's really going on here because, I mean, at one time, you got all of the other conservatives saying, hey, give it time, watch out and just give it time. It's going to happen and Trump's going to make sure it happens. But then on the other hand, they're all doing shit that does not look anything like justice and it looks like they're perverting the system just like everybody else. Other than Trump, nothing looks real.
Let me ask you a question. I want to get your opinion on this. One thought that I've had is that the deep state is just so ubiquitous and it's so massive and all encompassing that now that they've gotten in there, they've just realized, hey, there's just not that much we can do. I remember, and I just say this, I think you probably saw Billy Long just had to, was named IRS commissioner, and then Trump booted him to be ambassador of Iceland or something like. Oh, Billy's a guy I know really well. He was my former congressman. Used to eat at my restaurant all the time. I asked him when he first got elected to Congress. He'd been there a year. I said, so how's it going, man? Because he ran this campaign like, I'm fed up with the bullshit. It was fed up was his motto. And he just shook his head and he goes, there's no change in the system. I wonder, what's your opinion, Jack? Do you think that's maybe what they're up against?
I think it's partly to do with, the deep state is very deeply entrenched in Washington. It's been going on for hundreds of years, so they're very deep in there. But I will also say that it's also got to do with the fact that to get anything passed, to get anything to happen, you have to have 400 and something other people. It's just with one vote. I mean, so there's nothing you can do. You can submit bills until you're blue in the face.
But bring it back to the FBI and justice. Forget the congressional part of it.
Just justice, DOJ, and FBI. Then yes, I do believe it does have a lot to do with the deep state, because here's people that are in a position to do things in terms of justice. They are in a position to investigate. They are in a position to arrest, and they are in a position to prosecute. But what they do is they investigate. They don't arrest and they don't prosecute. Yeah. They put investigations for you and I to not what's the word? What's the word I'm looking for? No. For you and I to kind of placate. That's what it is. I'm sorry, I couldn't think of the freaking word. To placate us. They investigate to placate us. An investigation that goes on until the next presidency, and then it's forgotten about. Okay, and I do think it has a lot to do with the deep state. These people do want to change things, and I think it's the same with you and I. If you and I went in there, right, and say I got appointed to the FBI and you got appointed to CIA director, right? We went in there, we were going to fire all these people. We're going to change all this shit. But then people come up to us in the middle of the night in our home. They show us, hey, we can easily get to you. We can get to your family. They show, we have all these secrets on you from the past. And they show, hey, see this, this target of your family, of your wife's head or whatever. They can do whatever they want. They can kill anybody, make it look like an accident, or just disappear them. They're gone forever. And it's that easy. They are the people that would investigate their own crimes.
Right.
How easy is it to get away with something like that? You got to think, if these people can show you how easy it is to get to you, show you how vulnerable you are, you're going to do what they say.
Well, and they slow walk too, I mean, let's say Bongino gives an order to some guy, I want you to get this done. And then he comes back a week later. Well, why didn't you get that done? Oh, sir, according to Section S of the code, we have to do this first, and then the inspector general has to look at it, and blah, 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 blah. I mean, they're professionals. These are bureaucrats. They're professional procrastinators. They don't work hard, and they protect their own. These guys have cushy jobs. Now, I wouldn't want to work there, but they've got retire. How many people have I'd love to hear in the comments, how many people have private retirements for their employer? I mean, it's just a thing of the past. All government employees have it. They have great insurance for life. So they're going to protect the system that feeds their families. And I think you're right. I think in extreme cases, they use bribery and they use blackmail and they use fear. I mean, it's so
let's be honest here, James. Let's be honest here. If the deep state came up to you and said, hey, I want you to be in this with us. We're going to make you, some high position and we're going to give you this power. This is what you can do. This is what you can do. This is what you can do. I mean, who wouldn't join that? Imagine the power and the money and all of that,
but also if they said at the end, and if you don't, I'm going to murder your son.
Now that's the thing that convinces most people. A lot of people, there are people with integrity that would say, no, I'm not going to do that shit because I love my country. But then when they get to that last point and they say, hey, if you don't do that, we're going to kill your wife. We're going to kill your son. They show you pictures of your kid at school, They show you pictures of your wife at work. Hey, we can get to him this easy. Oh, of course. Of course.
And if anybody thinks that we're blowing smoke and that shit doesn't happen, you're crazy. If anything, I mean, look up the Clinton kill list sometime. I mean, look at Epstein's suicide is a perfect encapsulation of this whole thing. And you had Kash Patel with those crazy eyes. That's why I sent you his picture. Man, his eyes are crazy.
Yeah.
Kash Patel and Dan Bongino look like a deer in the headlights, flat out say that he didn't kill himself when everybody knows he absolutely killed himself. So what the hell is that all about? It's exactly what we're talking about. Did they threaten to kill Bongino's kids? I don't know. I have no idea, but the government allowed 9/11 to happen. 3,000 people were killed. Okay. Israel allowed October 7th to happen. Most of the deaths on that day for Israel were committed by IDF forces because of what is it called? The Jason, I can't remember the term. It's a term that they do not allow Israeli citizens to be captured because they'll give information. So the IDF soldiers, and I looked up, it's the Samson decree or something like that. They're instructed to shoot the citizens rather than let them be captured. This is a real deal. So don't think this shit doesn't happen. It does.
Oh, people would be insane. I mean, back during World War II, if you were a Russian and you were say there was, you were running, you were retreating, right? Other Russians would actually shoot and kill you. If you started to retreat, they had the military shoot and kill you. If you retreated from war, rather than die, they will shoot and kill you. This kind of shit happens all the time. The stuff that we're talking about is stuff that you will never see in the news. You might see a car crash, but that may not be what actually happened. You might see this or that. There's things out there. Let's just say, the boogeyman is a real thing. There are things that go bump in the night, things that you will never imagine, things that happen out there with the government, with these people that you just can't imagine what actually goes on. The things that we tell you are not even half of it. There are things that we don't even know that goes on that are just, it's absolutely insane. The things that they can do to you, the things that they can do to any American citizen, any person on earth that thinks they're safe is just, it's just a lie. And, people, there are people that live in that puppy dog world that believe, my government's got my best interest at heart. I'm an American. Nothing bad can happen in America because this is America and it's 2025. Nothing bad can happen here.
That's Michael Hastings. You said car crash. Remember the Rolling Stone reporter who claimed that he had a huge breaking story on Barack Obama and he was going to release it the next day. All of a sudden, his Mercedes is seen doing 150 miles an hour and blew up before it hit the tree.
It kind of sounds like 9/11 with the explosions after the plane was already inside the building.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they
unbelievable.
Have the technology to take over your car. Because all these cars have the computer chips now, so they can just take it over. They have the technology to listen through walls. I mean, they can hear any conversation. The NSA, we know, surveils every text, email, phone call.
Edward Snowden proved that.
Right. Now, they don't listen. There's not a person that listens to every text, but they have algorithms, certain words
that listens for keywords now.
Yeah, keywords, and then an actual human intelligence person will go check it out. And this is a clear violation of the Fourth Amendment. Yeah. It's just, the stuff Tucker just did a great interview with an author about the Oklahoma City bombing. I've been screaming about that event.
That was all
years.
about Hillary Clinton, all about it.
Yeah, totally. And we've talked about it a little bit on this show, but they did a real deep dive on it. In our show, in our format, we don't have time to do that, but I'll just lay it out. Look, it was a government op. It was ATF, FBI. As a matter of fact, the agents that worked in the building were sent a text the night before, do not go to the Murrow building tomorrow. They were warned, yet they let the parents take their little kids to the daycare.
And that's the thing I don't think, hang on, James. That's the thing I don't think people understand is just what this government will do, how far they're willing to go. There is not a person on earth, from a 99-year-old woman to a 1-month-old child, that they would not kill.
Right. Yeah, they murdered. I think there was over 30 children died in that blast.
I think it was like 33.
Yeah, toddlers. And then, of course, they pinned it on one guy, just like they did Oswald. And this one guy claimed he was a patsy all along it. And look, it's been proven. He was a sheep-dipped CIA asset.
Did you see how they just happened to pull him over right after the explosion? That one car just happened to be the car that was pulled over right after the explosion.
And then every witness said there were two people, and McVeigh was with this other person. So the suspect number 2 was on the FBI's most wanted list. Then all of a sudden it just went away. Oh yeah, the worst bombing in American history at the time, and we just forget about suspect number 2. He's never been caught. He's never, he's not on the list anymore. They just took him off, and then the government says, "Oh, they were all mistaken." All these dozen witnesses that saw. Now here's this goes back to Patel and Bongino. There's a video, Jack, in the possession of the FBI of the Ryder truck with McVeigh and the second suspect. There's a video. How hard would it be for them to release that? And why the F aren't they?
Well, let me just for the record, and I'm not 100% sure, but I believe this is the case. I believe that second suspect was Terry Nichols, and I do believe he is in prison for life.
No, Terry Nichols was nowhere around. No, this is a totally different person. Terry Nichols was involved in the bomb making and stuff. But no, this is a totally different person. He was a Hispanic.
So there was a third person involved in this.
Yes. Okay. But there were two. Nichols wasn't there the day. He wasn't in Oklahoma. He lived in like Idaho or something.
He just helped make the bomb. He rented the truck, didn't he?
No, McVeigh and the other guy. McVeigh and the other guy rented the truck. As a matter of fact, the guy that leased them the truck was one of the witnesses that said there were definitely two people. But dude, there's a video. Let's back to 9/11. Everybody's seen that lame ass half-a-second video that shows some blur hit the Pentagon. If you remember, immediately after the attack, the FBI confiscated every camera, every videotape outside the Pentagon, and there were an estimated 50 cameras from every angle imaginable that showed the attack. And I postulate, and most people do, it wasn't a plane, it was a cruise missile that hit the Pentagon. Why don't they release that? This administration promises transparency. The biggest open sore in America is 9/11, Jack. And the fact that we could solve it if they release that video, we would then know, hey, it didn't happen as Bush and the others said. Go after George Bush and Rumsfeld and Cheney and all those assholes that were behind it. They're going after Obama about the Russiagate thing. I'm calling on Kash Patel, release the effing 9/11 video of the Pentagon.
What kills me, James, is how easily the American public is manipulated. How quickly they're willing to believe a narrative. Let me paint a picture here for you, James. You got 2 planes that bring down 3 buildings.
Yeah.
Okay, 2 planes bring down 3 buildings. That doesn't make any sense to me. The math doesn't compute. Then you've got a man that shoots somebody from behind, but his head goes back. Okay? He supposedly shot him from behind, but his head went back like that.
Yeah.
You know, and then you got a man who says he doesn't know why he's being arrested, and then another man comes along and shoots and kills him before there's a trial. You know, and I'm talking obviously about Oswald in both of those last two scenarios, and the first scenario was 9/11. But they believe the narrative like that.
You got a man who was shot for supposed robbery in New York. They left his $5,000 watch in his wallet. Seth Rich, who leaked the DNC emails. You got a man, Terrence Yakey, who was an investigator, a police officer in Oklahoma City, who was there. He was considered a hero. He saved several people after the bombing, but then he watched the news and like, that isn't what I saw today. So he started doing an investigation. They find him 3 months later when he told everyone he was on his way for an important meeting with a journalist. And on the phone, he said, I'm being followed. I'll call you back. They say he committed suicide, yet his hands were tied behind his back with barbed wire. He had had the shit beat out of him. He supposedly committed suicide with a gun, and no gun was ever found. How many suicides by gun out in the country? It wasn't like where people were around, where the gun just disappears. I mean, it's just on and on and on, Jack.
And, you know, it's funny because if we tell you these stories without telling you the people involved, without telling you who they are, just tell you these stories, a man was shot in the back of the head, yet his head went back. You know, I mean, if I tell you these things, you know, 2 planes brought down 3 buildings without telling you what actually who it was, you would think that that story is a lie. But yet if I say it was 9/11, you'd be like, oh, no.
NIST. They explained it all. It was in Scientific American, you know. Come on.
It's just amazing how people are willing to believe that, you know, jet fuel can melt steel beams.
Right.
You know, all these different. It's just to me, it's just shocking. All of the different things that the American public is ready and willing to believe, and I think it has a lot to do with their worldview. You know, they get kind of scared to do that kind of thing, but I want to switch gears with you real quick. I want to talk about President Trump real quick and about how did you know that he reportedly fired Brian Driscoll after he refused to turn over the list of thousands of FBI agents who worked on investigations in the January 6th protesters. These people are people that should be fired, people that were, you know, obviously doing things that were detrimental to the American public. Yet this guy who worked for the FBI would not turn over the names of these people, and it's just people that are not even in the deep state, people that are just against, I guess, the American public now. Is that what's going on here? Because I don't think he's part of the deep state, Brian Driscoll. I just think that he just is just either he's against the American public or he's so deeply entrenched with his people that he doesn't want to give up anything. What's going on here?
I don't know. I don't know anything about this story. I'm looking it up now. I've been having all kinds of crazy stuff going on, but it's
been a crazy week, guys.
Briefly served as acting director. His stand on January 6th, he demanded when the transition team demanded a list of agents involved in the investigations, Driscoll confused to imply now listen to this. Now, this is Chat GPT, who, by the way, I argue with him all the time because he uses mainstream sources like New York Times, NBC, etc. His defiance earned him respect across the bureau, even earned him nicknames like Saint Driz. All right, what does that tell you? It tells you exactly what we were talking about 20 minutes ago. What is the problem with Kash Patel and Bongino, but why aren't they getting shit done? Because most of the people working there are against them. They're hitting roadblocks everywhere.
And that's true. I mean, you got to think Biden, who was never the actual president, but his administration hired all of these agents. They were all in the same thought process as the Biden administration, which is basically against the American people and out for themselves. So first of all, you can't replace all of them. There are tens of thousands of FBI agents, workers, secretaries, yada, yada, yada. You can't replace them all. So there's going to be deep state actors in there. There's going to be people that are going to fight you. But there are so many of them that they just can't get around all these robots. Even if you're the director of the FBI, Just like if you're the director of the CIA, there are things happening in Black Ops with the budgets and stuff that you have no idea. There are things that go on in the FBI that the FBI director doesn't know about, CIA that the CIA director doesn't know about, things that are so secret that even the directors are not allowed to know.
Sure. Who appointed Chris Wray?
I don't remember.
I believe it was Donald Trump.
Was it?
Yes.
Oh man, that's terrible.
Remember, he
That's terrible.
fired Comey. He fired
right.
Comey.
He did. God, man.
And Chris Wray was the replacement. He fired
he fired Comey and hired Comey.
Yeah. So who was the AG? Jeff? What was his name? Anyway, who?
Sessions.
So Trump fires him. Who's he get replaced with? Bill Barr.
He fires one person, replaces him with the same exact.
And my point is, all of these people, when I opened the show talking about Barr and this corruption scheme that was been exposed by Veritas, all the people in that room were so-called Republicans.
Mm-hmm.
Look, there is a uniparty, there is a deep state, and the deep state owns both sides. That's another reason it's incredibly difficult to get anything done, Jack. The Republican Party, look at the people in Congress. I mean, I can name like 5 that I have any respect for, particularly in the Senate. They're a bunch of corrupt, immoral, lazy, fat Fs.
You're not wrong. And I mean, there's a lot of them. And I do want to say, though, real quick, though, that I want to say something that I thought was funny. And James, I want to know if you heard this. Did you know that Joe Biden, his camp, the people that got him elected and all that, is actually ready to drop dirt on Kamala Harris if she comes after him in her new book? Apparently, he is willing to drop all the secrets that he knows about Kamala Harris because she may be coming after him in her new book. How interesting would that be? I want to read that book.
I think she's a drunk, first of all, don't you?
Of course.
Yeah, I mean, she's been caught drunk at different events, slurring her words, and blah, blah, blah. I mean, she's a mess. I mean, I can't even. We got to remember too. All these people we're talking about, Jack, they're human beings.
They are.
Just like we all have our faults. We all sin. I've done some bad things in my life that I've asked God for forgiveness. But, some of these guys, they continue to do bad things. And it's on both sides.
And James, I want to say that you and I were the first people, one of the first people in the world, I think, to report on this. I don't care what anybody says. You can go back and check the receipts. We were one of the first shows to report on the auto pen scandal that was going on.
Yeah.
And it's gotten even crazier. Okay. Apparently, former President Joe Biden's mental decline could be used as evidence to overturn some of his pardons and executive orders because his senior staff has failed to prove that he knew what he was signing amid accusations of cognitive impairment. And that's what the chairman of the House Oversight Committee, James Comer, says. Also, President Trump said he supports the House Oversight Committee's efforts to gather evidence to overturn President Biden's pardons of Fauci, Mark Milley, Adam Schiff, and others. James, we are going to see a war here, and I think we're going to come out clean on the other side. We're going to win this thing, and I think we might actually, if he does this, possibly see an Anthony Fauci prosecution, and I want that more than anything.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you're right, because, he was part of a program that ended up killing 3 million people. I mean, you're talking half the number that died in the Holocaust. And
that guy is Joseph Mengele times 2.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean,
person.
There's other things they could get him for. You know what? Here's another thing. Congress is sitting there, Jack. The House of Representatives has subpoena power. We've talked about this before. These people that were given pardons they cannot take the 5th if they're required to testify. Once you're pardoned,
That's true.
You can't use the 5th Amendment. At least make them testify. All we want is transparency, and we're just not getting it. There's so many fronts. Look, I love what Tulsi's done with the Russia collusion hoax, but I can name 5, 10 things off the top that I'd rather than be focusing on.
Oh, of
like
course.
I said.
But let me ask you, James,
Yeah.
how savage would it be if they brought these people in to testify because, they can't plead the fifth, since they've been pardoned, brought these people in to testify, had them say everything they had to say, then reversed their pardons.
Ooh.
Oh my God, that would be savage.
Yeah, it would be pretty good. It'd be pretty good. I just love to see him, put the screws on him, man.
That's what I voted for. Revenge
know.
against the government.
You remember Trey Gowdy was the best at just tearing people apart in Congress, and then nothing ever happened, though. Nobody ever got indicted. No one was ever arrested. No one prosecuted. I remember the Benghazi scandal. That was a massive scandal. Fast and Furious. Who paid for that? Who paid for the dozen Americans and an ambassador killed in Benghazi that they then went out and claimed it was a videotape, which we know is total. It was about an arms trade that was going on, illegal gun smuggling, which the CIA has always done and paid for it with money from drug smuggling. So it's just, and all this stuff is coming out, but I'm going to have to say, Jack, I don't have high confidence that we'll ever really see many prosecutions on any of this stuff.
Well, let me tell you, James, we haven't seen a single arrest yet. I
know.
mean, Trump's been in the presidency now.
Well,
for
forget
over
arrest,
6
just
months.
an indictment.
An indictment, nothing. I mean, there has not been anything. Not a handcuff, not a perp walk, not an indictment. There have been hundreds of people referred to the DOJ, but nothing ever happens to these people, ever. Yet, if it was the other shoe, every Republican would have been arrested.
Well, but think about how many J6 Capitol walkers were arrested within 4 months of January 6th. They had 800 people in jail already.
And how many Black Lives Matter people that tore up dozens of cities were arrested? How many times did they go after people that were just near the city? They were just near the city, like in DC.
I know. And that was Trump.
People that even thought about January 6th.
And that was Trump's DOJ, which just tells you how difficult. I'm not making excuses for Bongino Patel and Bondi and Trump. I'm not going to make excuses for them, but I do understand that they face an incredible task. I really do. It may not just be incredible, it may be impossible. We have to be realists here, dude. We may never get justice in all these things. Now, we probably will 80 years later when we found out, oh, gee, Oswald worked for the CIA. Oh, really? 75 years later, you tell us that? I'll bet you in 2060, we'll find out that our government was complicit in the 9/11.
Well, I don't know, because here we are in, 2025. We still don't know all the JFK shit from 63. So who the hell knows?
I know. It's crazy. Well, I know you got to get out of here. Our friend has been burning the candle at both ends, and we need to let him get to his family. So you got anything to wrap this thing up, buddy?
I just want to say that I appreciate everybody that listens to this show, everybody that shares it, especially, and especially the people that come in and comment, like Liz and Deborah and Free and Green Eye and just everybody that supports the show. Because, we try to, Deborah especially, we try to get people into this so we can share everything that we know, not just our knowledge, but everything that's going on, the truth. We try to get everything out to you so you can decide with an informed mind on what you want to do and make your own, obviously informed decisions. So we really
everything you guys know, because we get some great information from you in the comments, and Deborah and I chat frequently on Twitter, and just some great stuff.
So I really appreciate all our listeners.
Yeah, you bet. Well, I'm James Clary. He's Jack Danger. You've been listening to Secret America. We will see ya.
You've been listening to Secret America with Jack Danger and James Clary.